So the difference is talking to people that are interested. In fact, my first client I signed, I think I said that, it was just before Christmas, and I said, oh guys, why don't you pray about it and think about it over Christmas, and I'll get back to you after Christmas. They said, no, we want to sign up right now. I said, oh, I wasn't kind of ready for that because I was so used to having to convince my clients that this is what they should do, whereas now I'm finding, people are very interested, they want to know more, and then they're chasing me, which is a whole lot better, can I tell you?
Paul, thanks so much for jumping on. How's your day been?
Yeah, great. Or way too busy because of you.
Well, that's a good problem to have then. Well, tell me a little bit about like how things are looking at the moment in your coaching business.
Yeah, I think the thing for me was I've got, content, I've got experience in some ways. I've been fairly well known in the area I work in, but the challenge for me was I didn't really have a structure. And so what I needed help with, somebody that can actually sort of pull all of that content thought together and give it direction. So for me, I think that's been what's helped me so much so far. And just to know what I can do next day or the next week, and work towards some goals, that's been the most helpful at this stage.
Yeah, that's great because I guess your specific niche is that you help senior part. Actually, do you want to explain a little bit as to the niche that you work in and your offer?
Yeah. Well, Mobilise simply exists to train and equip pastors and leaders to mobilise their own people every day of the week. In short, we teach people how to build a 7-day church. And for us, the point of difference is most churches are probably, they don't know it, but quite Sunday centric, which is not a problem in terms of having Sundays, but it's a limit in terms of how much you reach your community the other 6 days of the week. So we provide a bit of a niche there, and clearly the message that we have at Mobilise is resonating with pastors all around the world, which we're discovering.
No, I love that. And I guess essentially before working together, what did your offer look like? And I guess serving your niche, which was senior pastors, like how did you deliver your offer?
Well, my offer was probably a little bit too complex, and it was also, as in my content, was taking too long. So I was offering to work with churches for up to 6 months, and I was offering to do that in person. And so last year, 42 flights or something, and many Saturdays because most churches couldn't do midweek because of their bivocational. So I ended up a lot of travel, very tiring. And so what we've done now is we've reduced that down so that I can effectively do it online and I can do it in 12 weeks.
And I love that the ability for you all to be location independent is fantastic because you can be at home and still deliver the same content. Obviously, you still offer to fly when you want to, but I guess it's taken that drag of having to be somewhere and be location dependent to be able to deliver your content, which
Yes, it was not sustainable unless I made that adjustment.
yeah, 100%. What do you think have been the main things that really moved the needle? Like obviously redesigning your offer so you can deliver it and be location independent, but what are some other things that maybe have moved the needle for you most?
A few things. Firstly, I'd say it doesn't seem like much, but I think it's turning into be quite a bit, which is you created the dream client ChatGPT thing through for Mobilise. So what that's done is it's created all of my content, and there's a lot, 30 years, put it into this package. And so calling down, I can write all my scripts because we're about to do a weekly email. It's just saved me hours of work by having that. I think the second thing is I just didn't know how to bring all of the tech together so that I could run automations, build my subscriptions, connect to more people. Clearly right now, because of the how good the socials campaign is going, I'm now talking to people all around the world, whereas I don't, other than clients I'd built up from 10 years of preaching, like I have a few clients in Europe, but in terms of now I'm speaking to people in UK, America, even into Asia. So they're just clients I wouldn't have been connecting with before. So it's really put me out there, really. That's what it's done.
Because I love the fact that, in the past where maybe you might have to send an email or maybe follow up in that way, now you have clients coming to you. Like you're telling me you got people like messaging you.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I must admit, that's the big difference. So I thought the way that I build my business is to hustle, and I'm a pretty good hustler too, by the way. So,
No doubt
like,
that.
so you know, I'm pretty good at constantly emailing somebody until they cave under the pressure. But what I was reeling was, honestly, I was talking to some senior pastors about doing mobilised training for 18 months. And they kept telling me they were interested, but the truth is they weren't. Otherwise, they would have been doing it. So the difference is talking to people that are interested. In fact, my first client I signed, I think I said to, it was just before Christmas. And I said, oh, guys, why don't you pray about it and think about it over Christmas, and I'll get back to you after Christmas. They said, no, we want to sign up right now. I said, oh, I wasn't kind of ready for that because I was so used to having to convince my clients that this is what they should do. Whereas now I'm finding, people are very interested, they want to know more, and then they're chasing me, which is a whole lot better, can I tell you?
Oh, totally. And I love even with your ads, like you are getting a cost per message of under $3. Some of your cost per messages are a dollar a message, and that's on high intent reaching out to you, which
I've
obviously has
always
been a
been
huge
cheap,
mental
mate.
shift. What's that?
I've always been cheap.
But I know people would kill for that. And obviously that comes down to the way that you communicate, but obviously we've been working on copywriting and, the right way to package that offer. But I think it's fantastic to see how you've been able to respond to people like that, and obviously not be on the front foot, but actually be attracting clients, be able to have those conversations each day.
Yeah, certainly the point of difference. I mean, I often think if I hadn't started this process, I probably would have been doing what I've always done, which is just have a go at trying to build mobilise. But I wouldn't have done it very well. I really think I would have had a bit of a frustrating year, to be honest. And it would have been a lot more push and a lot less flow, I think, if I wasn't working with you.
No, I love that. Well, I guess even looking to the future, because you're obviously much more of a visionary leader, Paul. Like, where do you want to take the business, and where do you want to take Mobilize, and what do you really see for the coaching program that you have in the future?
Oh, look, I just think, not because I'm anybody special, but the content I know, which is helping churches be kingdom-centric, not Sunday-centric, which by the way is, I think, the number one roadblock of any church. Even the larger churches that are seeing the numbers, if you really drill down, they will tell you they do have high turnover. So what the difference is, we really want to raise or build churches that create disciples that make more disciples. And I think 25 years ago, the attractional model was working for us all. In fact, me included, as I was a senior pastor. But I think what I see in the future is I believe Mobilize should be a part of, now this is a bold statement, but I think it should be part of every church, because it starts with a rethinking process. Because my belief is it's not the lack of knowledge that's blocking you, it's your current knowledge. In fact, if you've been leading for a long time, it's all of the years of knowledge that you keep relying on that has to be. So my saying is you have to unlearn and then relearn. So, and that principle anyway is just good for any leader, regardless of whether you're trying to grow your church, whether you're trying to multiply campuses. The ability to be self-aware is the number one thing you need as a leader to move from being stuck and becoming unstuck. So to me, aside from being better at reaching your community, aside from seeing more people come to know Jesus, aside from becoming the kind of church your city can't live without, the idea that you become a thought leader, not stuck on old methods, to me, is what every church needs across the globe. And so I just want to reach as many churches as I can.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that we've been able to amplify that message to the right market as well. And people have been really looking for that. And you've obviously been a godsend to them and what you provide, which is fantastic. In terms of, for someone that doesn't have faith or has faith, irrespective, like what would you say to someone that is kind of like on the fence in terms of investing in coaching or even working with me? Like, what would you say to someone that kind of might be sitting on the fence at the moment?
Oh, I would say that you got to take the leap, because we typically, particularly if you're a small business like me, right? So funds aren't huge. I'm a startup. I've got to be very careful where I spend every dollar. But by the same token, my realization was, unless I'm willing to take a few risks and do something different, because I don't have the answers, because I'm willing to do that, I'm building the kind of momentum I need that will bring clients towards me. And so what you can't do in this startup phase is be conservative and think, oh, I'm saving a few dollars and that'll be good in the long run. I actually think the opposite. I think right now, even though it was a bit of a stretch financially to do, it's what I must do if I'm to see this thing grow and expand to the level I want it to. And you need a coach. Everybody needs a coach. It doesn't matter how good you are at something. You always need somebody that's been down that path as well. And look, for me, I would say it's just, I'm doing things I never thought I would do if I didn't have a coach.
Well, I love that. And yeah, thank you so much for being so generous with your words, Paul. And you've obviously been such an incredible client to work with, and so excited for all that's to come. And say thank you so much for being on the call today. I really appreciate it.